That's one of the tricks to why you look so good so fast is this. That's it. Liposuction involves scraping flesh out of the body with a cheese grater on a stick.
Oh my God.
I said, okay, what's everything wrong with this? I'm going to take every step of the way. I'm going to fix it.
I think that people are so sick of celebrities and influencers not being transparent about what they're getting done. I think that if you get something done, you don't obviously have to share it, but then don't go on and say you haven't had anything done. That's where it's problematic.
Or
Yeah.
the worst is, like, and we've talked to different people on this show, is people think that it's a different procedure,
Yeah,
right? And then they
That's
go
true.
like, they go and get, something like what you do. They go and
that's
say,
happened
they
with
got,
Air Sculpt a lot.
yeah, they go, I need to get liposuction when somebody maybe had air sculpt, right? And then all of a
More
sudden it's
like-
a different thing.
It's more like they had Air Sculpt and said they got some like super minimally invasive thing, like that's like basically a McDonald's heat fry lamp that doesn't, or some BS. Like, oh, I just micro needled it or something like that. And like, obviously that's not what happened.
Well, you told me something interesting. You said that what you do, and we are going to get into everything, you guys, but essentially it's like body contouring. And so when people go and they get lipo can make you look very square. And maybe you can speak more eloquently on it.
Well, first of all, like for me, lipo's a dirty word. It's really old technology. It's not even really shouldn't even be part of the conversation anymore when it comes to body contouring. What does body contouring mean? It means getting rid of areas that bother you in your body, right? Whether it's a fat pocket in your arms, under your chin, your banana roll, like any area of the body that you want to Photoshop, that's body contouring. Liposuction is so outdated and so invasive that I don't even, it amazes me that we're still talking about it. But there's so many differences if you want to get into that. Like, obviously, our patients are wide awake. There's no needle, no scalpel, no stitches. You were wide awake. We had great conversations. We listened to a lot of music. It was fun.
I
Right.
might have abused the laughing gas.
Yeah, you get like just high enough where it's like a really fun time out. And the important thing here is liposuction involves scraping flesh out of the body with a cheese grater on a stick.
Oh my God.
Okay, that is what liposuction is for real. Okay, there's no ambiguity there. It is a cheese grater on a stick. They put it in your body and they scrape out flesh. Do they get fat? Yes. Do they get muscle tissue? Yes. Do they hurt the
Jesus.
attachment of your skin to underlying structures and thereby, in many cases, make your skin looser? Yes.
So how does that get approved as a procedure?
Oh, well, it's been approved for
I know
n-
it's forever.
it's
but
not even a technology. It's just like you can, surgically you can put whatever you want in the body and do whatever you want. It's not technology, right? It's not some device to get approved by the FDA. These are like regular surgical tools. I mean, the first liposuction case actually took place in the 70s, and before that in Paris, I think in the 30s or the late 20s, the 1920s, a ballerina wanted to get ready for a part, and they used like surgical melon baller to take fat out of her outer thigh, and she died.
Jesus.
So that's the first body contouring case, was a ballerina in Paris.
I want you to go way back to when you pinpointed there was a problem in this industry and you wanted to disrupt it. Walk me through that.
Well, first of all, I love body contouring, always have. It's pretty much the reason I went to medical school. It wasn't because I like healthcare or sick people. I actually wanted to be a fashion designer. And my parents nixed that idea. And so this was kind of like the next best thing for me, was like designing bodies. And so when I finally learned liposuction, I was so excited. Like, I had waited my entire 8 years of school and surgical training to get there. And I was like, I remember looking at it and thinking, this is so awful and barbaric. I don't even know if I feel like morally right about doing this. And I saw the patients after, and they did not look better. They looked bumpier. They looked weird. They looked unhappy. And all the doctors that were doing it are like, "Oh, just wait like 6 more months. It'll just wear the garment more." And I'm like, "I don't think that's gonna do the trick." And I it really made me feel, like, uneasy because I was like, "There's gotta be a better way." And, I so anyway, I used the best technology that there was, and I was like, "I just know we could do better because the skin is not getting tighter. The skin was getting looser." Right? So
Is
I
that because
was
there's nothing to get tight against at that point?
well, no, it's because, like, your skin is kind of Velcroed to the underlying structures. There's little threads and connections, and you de-Velcro it.
Oh, you're going and stripping it out.
Yeah, and think about this, like, let's say you have, your wallet. So your wallet here, if you took all the cards and the cash out, it'd be a saggy wallet,
Sure.
right? It's the same thing. You have a pocket, you empty the pocket, it's an empty bag. So any body contouring that doesn't simultaneously tighten the skin to me is just not worth doing, right? Because you're just replacing one problem with another. Not acceptable. But the other thing is, it was super invasive, and you're sticking big instruments in people, and no one's sick. No one's sick. No one has a health problem. You should make it the easiest, most comfortable, fun, and easy to heal with fast result thing that you could possibly do.
What
And
is the recovery for lipo? Are you
it depends what people say, but like most people say you don't get your result for 6 to 12 months.
wow.
Most people suggest like 2 weeks off of work, and then return to activity in like 6 months, 6 weeks to 2 months.
Wow. So
You're wearing the garment for a super long time.
you're out.
Yeah, there's serious downtime, and then you have the risk of anesthesia, of course, you know.
So when did you decide and what did the process look like? Like, how did you even sort of wrap your head around this idea of air sculpt? It started as you were kind of turned off by lipo. How did it sort of move towards this?
Well, I've always been an inventor. I've invented a bunch of things. So I loved making patients happy to erase a problem area like your chin, right? It was something that made you unhappy, right?
Right.
And that brings me the most joy I can have professionally is fixing those things for people. And the essential thing was I said, okay, what's everything wrong with this? I'm going to take every step of the way. I'm going to fix it. So, for example, like no one likes to be awake and get stuck with a needle, right? No one likes
No
needles,
one likes
right?
needles.
So we have this, the jet injector, right? So this uses air pressure. You remember feeling it. You're like, oh, that doesn't feel like anything.
It almost feels like a little snap of a rubber band, but
I'll fire it in front of the microphone.
okay.
That's it. It's air pressure spraying fluid under your skin.
Can you do it on Michael's skin?
Is it gonna sting
Oh,
me?
Michael, come on. I did it 5,000
Well, I don't
times.
need to be numb right
Do
now,
it on
right?
your skin. Just do one dot. Oh,
does it feel
my
like?
God.
Do you
Do
wanna
not
do
be.
Yeah,
Just put your hand down.
Is it hurt?
A
it
little.
doesn't hurt.
Oh, no, I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
Look at he got all nervous.
Yeah.
I did this
Well,
for
listen.
2 hours, bitch.
Lauren, listen, okay?
Okay.
This is about you now.
Okay, go on. Go on. So you found that this was a problem and you changed the needle
Yeah.
to this.
I'll give you another example. No one wants to get cut with a scalpel, right? Does scalpel sound good to you?
No.
It's not needed. And then when you use a scalpel, you have to use stitches. Who wants stitches? When you have stitches, you have a Frankenstein scar, like a line with a bunch of dots. What I have instead is exactly a 2 millimeter hole. So this is a tiny hole punch, like a freckle-sized cookie cutter. And what's awesome about it is even if you scar bad, you have a new freckle. So what? You don't need any stitches. Great. But the trick here that like no one really talks about is it allows the fluid that we put in to numb you to drain out really fast. And if it drains out, you're not swollen. That's one of the tricks to why you look so good so fast is this.
Michael did pop a boner the next day. Like I literally took my,
I mean,
my
listen,
clothes off. Not my clothes off. I took like just to show the garment and he was like, you could see it right away.
Yeah. Your waist probably looked amazing in 48 hours and you flew.
And I flew.
Yeah, we flew.
I mean, it was wild. You immediately noticed a difference.
Well, what's crazy to me is, I mean, because we were talking back and forth the next day, and we was like, "Oh, should I stay? Should we go?" And
I remember.
we were back on a plane like literally the next day.
No, I was walking the beach in the morning talking to you on FaceTime. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else did you fix in this area?
So here's the key part. The key part is the cheese grater on a stick. The scraping motion with a guy or a woman going like this, it's like, it's totally unconscionable. Like it's not a way to get the job done. So what I wanted was I wanted to use a much, much smaller instrument that was basically machine powered instead of human powered. It's like, would you rather have your coat sewn by a sewing machine or like a little old lady going like this with a needle and thread? Liposuction is like doing that with a needle and thread. I'm like, I have to invent the sewing machine. And I was brushing my teeth with a Crest spin brush, which I don't even know if they sell anymore, but it's like a battery powered electric toothbrush.
Yeah, then don't we have that, Lauren? Or maybe we don't. Panasonic? I don't know. But we got something like
Yeah.
that.
And I was like, wait a second. This is kind of like a regular toothbrush is kind of like liposuction. And electric toothbrush is what I need. And so that got me thinking like, how about a different motion? Instead of a back and forth motion, a back and forth spiral motion. So what we're doing with Air Sculpt is we're drilling a tiny, tiny hole. And the key here is tiny. The less instrumentation, the smaller the instruments are, the less damage you do to underlying structures, the less bruising and swelling, the quicker the healing. And we're taking out fat cell by cell. We're not scraping anything out of the body. We're like drilling a hole in the fat. And I want everyone listening to understand kind of how body contouring works. It's really simple. It's an Oreo cookie. Okay. So all it is the skin is one layer of the Oreo cookie, the muscle is the bottom brown cookie, and the fat is the creamy center. We're drilling right into the creamy center of the Oreo cookie like this. And then as it comes out, it's taking the sawdust out or little fragments of the, and that each hole in this is the size of exactly one fat cell. Every fat cell is about the size of a cookie crumb.
Wow.
Okay, so when you say you're this is how I see it. You're zapping the fat and tightening the skin and then removing it. Is that correct?
Well, we're not zapping it. We're plucking each fat cell out like a berry off a bush. But the way we're tightening the skin is this is moving so fast, so many thousands of times per minute, that we're creating collagen by abrading the underside of your skin. We're actually making it hot with friction instead of like radio frequency or laser or plasma or whatever. Okay, we're actually, what's cool about this, it's very elegant, is as we're removing the fat, we're heating up the underside of the skin in exactly the same vector. So any area that's treated exactly the same direction it's treated gets shrunk in that direction.
How does one even go about bringing these tools to fruition? Like, how do you call a manufacturer? Like, how do you even go about telling him, oh, this needs to be this size, and like, how do you even know how to do
It's
that?
a long and involved process, and there's a lot of patents and legal work and stuff like that. But we've now done almost 40,000 patients with
Wow.
AirSculpt. So I can't believe it. Actually, like when I started this, I thought I was just going to have an office in Beverly Hills and just do it better than everybody else. And then we got so busy that we really had to expand.
And is there any cons? Because people are going to ask this.
Great.
What are
Yeah.
things that you've seen go wrong? You've done 40,000 cases.
Um, well, if someone doesn't take care of themselves after, this isn't weight gain insurance.
Right.
This isn't, I'd say the biggest con is that it's so easy and so effective that I've seen some people get more healthy and are like, oh my God, I love my body. I love wearing a new size of jeans or whatever. I love how I look in pictures now. And they're more motivated. But there is a portion of the population that's like, great, I'm now going to eat dessert at every meal and I'm going to like just Netflix and chill for the rest of my life. And if I get fat again, I'm going back.
Because they know that this exists. And so they're like, oh,
Yeah.
why put in the work if I could go do this?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it that often. But besides that, really, it's extremely safe. Remember, you're wide awake. We do everything possible to ensure it's as safe as possible. And we have an incredible safety record. I'm super proud to say that.
I will say what I've noticed with my own results is that when I did it and now I'm doing weight training, the weight training with eating a lot of protein with the Air Sculpt, I notice such great results. Like,
Good.
so I think that what people need to realize is it's not the whole toolbox. It
No.
can be a hammer, but it's not the whole. You got to do
It's a hammer and a drill, okay?
a hammer and a drill.
But you still,
Literally.
yeah, exactly. You still you got to play ball.
Right.
And this is permanent. So let's say this is 5 pounds of fat, but made of rubber, but it's exactly 5 pounds. If I take that out of someone's tummy, it's never coming back.
Why is that? Is it because you removed the cell?
We remove the cell, and after the age of 14, you don't make new fat cells.
Okay, but here's my question. If it's never coming back and you get fat again, does it go in another area?
Okay, that's a really important question, and I think this is a great venue to answer that question.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, okay, I get asked that every single day of my life. So, every single day of my life. So, let's answer it once and for all. Fat does not move. Fat does not know it's gone. Okay? It doesn't have legs. It doesn't leak somewhere else either. That's really simple. Wherever the fat cells are after the age of 14, they're there. If you lose weight, they shrink like raisins. If you gain weight, they swell like grapes. That's it. If we remove them from any area like your chin, never, ever, ever coming back. Now, let's say you gain 30% more than you weigh now. Well, other areas of your body are going to grow. There's no way against that, right? Like, as long as you have fat cells, it's not moving. It's just the rest of your body is growing normally the way that anyone gains weight.
Okay, so if you get this done, you need to still be healthy. You need to
Yeah.
still work out. You don't want to use this as like a
Right.
one and done.
It's not, yeah, exactly.
But let's say that I was somebody that did this and I did my stomach,
Mhm.
but then I went and gained weight. You're saying it won't come in the stomach, but it could potentially come into all the other areas.
If you gain weight.
If I gained weight.
It would be evenly distributed through your body.
Okay.
And you know what's important, I think, for your listeners is what is the anatomy of a problem area? What causes a problem area, right? Like, let's say your waist, okay? What causes that is certain areas of our body genetically, or no one's really even sure why, have more fat cells per square inch than others. Like those fat cells are really tightly packed. So, of course, if you gain weight, it's going to be more noticeable there because there's more raisins to turn into grapes. And there's other areas like on a man. I've never seen a guy who wanted his arms done. Guys don't have arm fat. They just don't.
That's the number one area I want it done.
Yeah, well,
But you know
I
what?
love your arms already, by the way.
I'm obsessed with my
Yeah.
arms, but here's the thing. I have always had very, very slim arms. And then I got pregnant and I noticed that they got like a hormonal kind of fat that I
Yeah.
just never had. So that's why to me the arms were really important.
Very, very common. Arm fat, like with aging and or pregnancy, is, I'd say, it's the second most common problem area there is. The first being waist and tummy.
And when you did the arms, what was cool is you were almost able to get in the like bra fat and the arm fat and it's almost like back arm fat. Like
Yeah.
you got everything.
Yeah. Well, you got to do what's called a cosmetic unit. Like, for example, if you do the arm and you don't do the armpit at the same time, if someone has armpit fat, well, it's not going to look congruent. It's not artistically right. You have to do the area, the not only the area, but the attaching areas so it's natural looking.
That's exactly what you did. I could feel like the armpit, like you designed me like a fashion designer.
Exactly. It's like if you get your pants tailored, you can't just do like the waist and not trim up like the butt or something. You know what I mean? Because it's all part of the same thing.
All right. So let's play sort of a game. Let's say there's a girl, her name's Stephanie, and she's in Minnesota and she wants to get this done. Walk me through exactly what it looks like to get this done, from what pain medicine you're giving her to the laughing gas to when she gets there to
Mhm.
how long she's on the table, all the things.
Sure. So she would come into the office for her. Do you want to go to the consult? We could start with the consult.
Sure. Start with the
So
consult.
let's say she finds out about us and she goes to our website, airsculpt.com. Okay. So she goes to airsculpt.com. She wants a virtual because she lives 2 hours away from Minneapolis and she doesn't want to drive in.
Which I did virtual with you.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yes.
So she does a virtual. She does a FaceTime with her doctor and with our patient care coordinator, and we decide you're healthy, you're a good candidate, the area that you want done makes sense. We tell you what you can and what you can't expect, and what we can and what we can't achieve. And the key to all aesthetic surgery is under promise and over deliver. And so we're comfortable with that. And then, like, her procedures, let's say a week later. So she comes in, she gets some pictures taken of the area. We mark the area with our special markings. Of course, she like meets her doctor, goes over her whole health history and all that stuff. Every consult I do, I make sure I pinch the area with the patient in the mirror because our motto is if you can pinch it, we can take it. And if you can't pinch it, we can't take it.
And what qualifies as a pinch?
Well,
Like an inch?
Anything. I mean, I've done people that are major celebrities before they go in a movie or a series or they're going to be naked, where it's like most people would think it's absolutely ridiculous, where it's like a half an inch on a very skinny person can make a really big difference. Where, it's all relative. It's all proportional. If you're a large person, then obviously you need more fat out to make a big difference. But in a small person, like I've done people that are 100 pounds, I've done people that are 400 pounds. It's not the same thing.
And you mentioned, I know you're going to keep going with this, but you mentioned to check if they're a candidate, who would not be a candidate?
Well, people who don't have fat, which we see all the time. Sometimes what you can pinch is just loose skin. If fat feels like soft rubber, it doesn't feel like cotton. If you pinch and it feels like cotton, it's probably loose skin. And we're not skin sculpt. So, it's not, loose skin we're not the answer for loose skin. We can tighten your skin if you have fat underneath it, and we do. But if you just have loose skin, it's a different problem with different solutions. But anyway, if you have certain medical problems, let's say you're missing a kidney, we would probably say not the right thing for you. Let's say you just had a heart attack like a month ago, not the right thing for you.
What if you just had a baby? How long?
Great question. We get that every day. So if you had a baby, a normal delivery, normal vaginal birth, 3 months, as long as you're not breastfeeding. If it's a C-section, you have to wait 6 months. And again, as long as you're not breastfeeding. You can't breastfeed and do this because we give you medicines that you don't want to get into the breast milk.
Okay, so go on with the procedure.
Okay, so then after she's marked, she would get medication, just like you got, medicine that would help you relax. Okay, but I like the amount of medicine to be between 2 and 3 glasses of rosé, depending on the person.
I wanted 3.
Yeah, so you got 3.
Depends what season you catch me in. Sometimes that's not going to get the job done. Sometimes it's going to set me over.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really just depends.
So we got her happy. We got the music going. We get you in the room. You get to meet the nurses. Everyone starts talking. We have a really fun vibe. And then we start the procedure. We start the procedure with the jet injector. So you feel what feels like, I don't know how you would describe it. Like, it's just like a little bump on your arm or something, or whatever area
it's
we're
like
doing.
A little flick of a rubber band, but not a hard flick. It's just like a light flick of a rubber band.
Honestly, I mean, I didn't even feel it when you just did it to me in here.
Also, you guys are very efficient about it. So it's not like you're like doing it and then taking a minute. It's when you're in it, you're in it. That's what it felt like. It's like, and it's over quick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's super quick. Then we use this to make the tiny hole that we use to do everything through. Then we put numbing fluid into the fat, into the problem area fat. That also helps prevent bruising and bleeding. So if you remember looking in your fat canister, there was basically like a teaspoon of blood.
That's I don't remember being like...
It was all yellow, not red.
Yeah. And the fat canister was a lot.
I mean, know.
I was like, whoa.
I know.
By the way, you guys said this. I don't know if this is true, that I was one of the only patients you've ever seen close your eyes the entire time, except to peek at that.
You are the only patient in all the thousands of patients I've treated that kept their eyes closed the entire time.
I don't want to see anything. Yeah. I'm too scared. I would throw up. I would faint. I just didn't even open my eyes.
She can't even give blood.
No,
really?
She can't give.
No, I can't even get my finger pricked.
You had a bunch of work done, and like you were a gem. Like I actually had a blast hanging out with you. It was really fun. You had your eyes closed, but that's okay.
My eyes were closed, but we were listening to Bossa Nova, which is so funny because you never told me. You told me that no one else asked for that either.
No, yeah.
And you play.
I do.
The trumpet?
No, saxophone.
Saxophone.
Yeah.
And you play Bossa Nova.
I do.
How full circle is that?
It's so weird, and I find it perfect surgical music. It's relaxing, but at the same time, not like puts you to sleep relaxing.
Okay, so
makes sense, actually.
What is the person feeling like on the table when you're really in it?
Well, why don't you tell them?
I felt like I had 4 glasses of wine, but also if you ask someone a question on the table, I feel like they're gonna give you the answer. It's like kind of like a truth serum. I can't explain it. Like, it's
good. Whatever you're using, send it to my. I needed some of that. I have some questions I gotta ask.
It's like you're a bottle of wine deep, and you're like you could ask the person anything.
That's the most fun part about the procedure for me, because like technically it's super easy for me now, but like I love having these frank conversations about life. It's not only about the patient. Like The nurses talk about their life. The doctor talk. It's really like going out for drinks with friends.
And the nurses make you feel so comfortable. It was really nice to have both the nurses there. They were unbelievable and they make everything feel really seamless. And it feels like if for me, it felt like the doctor you was very concentrated on what you were doing and the nurses were there to seamlessly make sure everything was moving along. It's a good team.
Yeah, it's a team sport for sure.
Okay, so when the person's done, I mean, I can talk about my experience, but you also
Please do. Yeah.
I got up, they put garments on me. I was still I was still kind of drunk, I would say.
Mhm.
Michael picked me up. I remember kind of the car ride home, and when I got home, I laid in bed. I had to sit upright for
Because of
everything
your
to
chin.
drain.
It was
Right.
for your chin. Yeah.
And honestly, like I was up walking the beach the next day.
Did you go to dinner that night, or did you get room
So she was
service?
tired, so she just slept, and then I was like, "Oh, so we just got room service." But the next day, we went to the beach, and then we went across the street to the mall and had lunch, and then we got on a plane and went home.
And
Awesome.
I would say the worst part about the whole thing. What do you think I'm going to say? It's random.
Probably the garment?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I wanna make the garment better.
Can you you need
I'm
to
working
do
on
a
it.
branded garment
I want to.
because this digs
I
right
know.
here.
I know.
I actually ended up buying these. I'm gonna send you guys the link. They're like hearts for breastfeeding. They're soft pads, and I took the hearts for breastfeeding and put it underneath anywhere
Mhm.
the garment was digging, and that really helped. The garments were the worst part.
The hard part is that every body's different. Like, if you go to one brand down the street here and try on whatever size you are, it it might fit great, it might not fit at all, and that's the problem with garments. Everyone's body is so different. That's why technologies that use, like, a panel or something like that, if it's not fully custom to your body, I don't know what anybody's doing because everybody's body's completely different.
You should do like an air sculpt garment that is like a corset so the person can adjust it. Do you know what I mean? Because the problem is you can't adjust it. For that to be the worst part though,
Yeah,
I didn't mind the head garment at all.
I know.
I mean,
She was doing full
I
No
would have
one's
taken
worn it
off.
longer than you. Yeah.
I think she
still
still
wear
has
it to
that
bed
thing.
sometimes. Because it takes any swelling or fluid or anything out of the face. And honestly, like I wore it and I was talking to people like at the stores and the restaurants and people were asking and
Awesome.
We've done interviews in the studios with other guests, and she's wearing that, and the
Oh,
the
let's,
guest like has
but
no
also
idea.
like my thing is if I got it, I chose to get a procedure. I don't mind talking about it. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I just don't care. And honestly, I think a lot of people don't care either. I didn't get any mean DMs. Everyone was super supportive.
I think people care in a positive way because they respect as, a person of influence who's just keeping it real. I think that's where we are now as a society. It's like basically anyone, almost everyone after like high school has something done. It might be filler, it might be Botox, it could be anything, right? It might be that like they had their ears pinned back when they were a teenager. It's so commonplace. It's not taboo at all. Let's just be honest about it because we can help each other and say, hey, I got this procedure and went really well, or I got this other procedure and it didn't go well. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't work, did work. I mean, why don't we just have an honest conversation about it?
Yeah, I
How
think
many celebrities and influencers are lying?
Well,
90%.
I've seen a lot of people who say they never had anything done that have definitely had something done.
you're like, wait a minute, I just saw you last week.
Yeah, like I mean that's super. Or they say they did something like very, very minor.
Yeah, I think like
Not that air sculpt isn't minor. I consider it super minor. If you can fly to Miami, get it done, spend the night in a hotel, and leave the next day, it's pretty minor, especially for the amount of result you get. You got a dramatic result, and you're not even done healing. You have 6 more weeks of shrinking to go before you get your full result.
I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions from the audience.
Fine.
The first question is, and I think this is going to be hard to answer, how much is it? Because it's per area.
Let's talk about pricing for a second. Pricing goes by the more time what you want takes in the procedure room, the more it costs. That's it. That's why we don't have a price for a particular thing. We have like certain areas have like starting prices, where it's like it's this much or more, right? And but it really just depends on how much fat do you have and how many areas do you need treated. We can only do about 4 or 5 areas in one day. And if someone wants more than that, then they come back the next week or the next month, whenever they want to come back and do the rest.
Is it best to wait to do this until you're finished having babies?
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I
And
think that that's a question I saw a lot too.
it really depends. I get it so much. It really depends on the person because a lot of patients have a problem area that they had before they had kids and it got worse. And being pregnant can really hurt your self-esteem when you take great care of yourself. You're on the Peloton every day. You're 6 months pregnant, you're not looking like yourself. If your problem area has blown up, right, it's not gonna make you feel better about life. So, if it's a problem area that's been a problem area, then I recommend just getting it done between kids, and because 'cause you're gonna be happier, like, there's no reason to wait. But if you're like, "Geez, I gained weight, I had 1 baby, planning on having another baby soon," I think it's better to wait until, let's say you're gonna have 2 babies, then we do a mommy makeover, and if you need it, you can I don't wanna do things that people don't need.
There also is something that you were telling me, and again, I don't know much about this because we did not do this, but can't you take the fat out of an area and put it somewhere else
Yeah.
in like while you're awake too?
Oh, completely awake, just like what you had. We do that every single day all over America and Canada. So it's just called a fat transfer. We have our special way of doing it. Again, while you're awake, no needle, no scalpel, no stitches, not even syringes, no syringes. We basically pump it out of one area into a sterile container and then pump it into the area you want. We do a lot of breast filling with it, it's called an up a cup, where we bring you up a cup size naturally with your own fat. Most of a breast is already fat. We just add your problem area fat, which wants to grow, to your breast. We also do it to the butt, which some people call BBL. And then we invented a new procedure called a hip flip. Everybody wanted to look like Kylie Jenner with like a very voluptuous, curvy, violin shaped body. What's funny about that is that's not a butt that sticks out. That's more of a small waist and broad hips. So we started taking waist fat out. This is what we call the hip flip. You take waist fat out and you add it to what some people call a hip dip. You know what a hip dip is, right?
Yes, of course.
So you've probably talked about that on your podcast before. It's a major thing. It's a real thing where you have like a love handle, you have a dent, and then you have a saddlebag, right? So what we do is we take out the mountain, the love handle, and fill the canyon, which is the hip dip, with your fat, and it's beautiful. Like, look at the pictures. I mean, they're some of our prettiest before and after pictures.
Don't make me want to come back. I mean, I'm going to be like, hey, can I do this again? It was so easy that I could see how people would be like, that sounds kind of fun. Book a flight to Miami.
Listen, I don't mind going to Miami. I love going out there.
I love it too.
So you did look at Michael's chin and his jaw. And
He's a no-go.
He's a no-go.
No go.
You
No.
looked at me though, and we talked about this off air, and I just would love for you to give me like a consultation on air. You said I still am swollen a little bit.
Okay, I want to see what you look like. So
Okay.
first of all, okay, I see swelling. You see how it's like kind of like a little bit, I don't know how to explain it, irregular right here. I only see it on your right side,
But
not your
don't
left.
forget, that's where my jaw surgery scar
Okay.
is. So on the right side.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
So that's that little.
That's where you're gonna have the longest healing time.
Yeah.
It's only been 6 weeks.
Right. It's like I need to wait another month.
Yeah, another 6 weeks and it'll be like just smooth as silk. So I'm not like your result is actually better than what I expected or hoped for at this juncture. Like you're still swollen legitimately. Okay, I bet there's places you can feel here that feel like gummy bear under your skin, like a little bit like rubbery or hard. That's normal. That's a pocket of swelling and you're supposed to have it.
But it is crazy how
Your jawline looks gorgeous though.
it almost feels like phantom fat is gone. Has anyone ever told you that? Like the fat that you took from my arm and my waist and underneath my chin, it feels like it feels like I had like a phantom fat.
Like
and
you feel
it's
like it
gone.
should still be there?
Yeah, it's so
I
crazy.
hear that a lot.
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's wild to me how the skin is so tight
Yeah.
and the fat is gone.
I get skin so tight under the chin that some patients actually have to like stretch their neck skin out.
I had to. You
Yeah.
know what I had to do? I had to kiss the sky.
Yeah. That's
I talked
smart.
to my friend who, by the way, is amazing. You guys should collaborate. Her name on Instagram is @AfterTheCut.
Okay.
And her whole business is dedicated to helping patients after any kind of procedure or surgery get better. And I talked to her and she's like, with this procedure, you want to kiss the sky. And because it was so tight, like
Mhm.
not in a bad way, it was just tight. Like you felt like you like took a cord, like a corset,
Yeah.
and pulled it.
Yeah, and that's how it's supposed to be, and sometimes that happens with people's arms too, and I tell them to, like, raise their hand like they'd have to ask a question in class.
Yeah, it happens under the armpit. You get
Mhm.
tight, but the tightness does go away after you're moving and stuff.
Yeah, it's
And
just from swelling.
I kind of like the tightness though, because it's like it just feels very, very tight. And I can see what you're saying about liposuction, how the skin can get
Oh,
lumpy and
just
saggy.
go to the beach in Miami, and you could see why liposuction should be a thing of the past.
So, what kind of pushback do you get from other doctors because you're so outspoken about lipo?
Honestly, I'm really happy to say that a really huge influencer in plastic surgery, who's very, very well known and has written a million articles and stuff like that on body contouring, he just joined Elite, and I was doing the training with him, and he did a bunch of cases with me, and he said that in his whole career, he's never been able to get better results. He said he was skeptical about it because he didn't know what it was. A lot of people, you could talk about air sculpt all you want, but if you've never done it or had it, you have no idea what it is, right?
That's what happened to me when
Right.
Stephanie and your team reached out to me.
You're like, "What's this?"
I was like, "What is this?" And then I talked to your team and I was like, "Wow, this sounds really interesting." I'm also someone who is open to trying all different kinds of things, and I thought, "You know what? I just had a baby. I'm feeling puffy. I think this is great to just try out." And I had the best experience. Like I have told everyone about this. I
You
can't
weren't
shut up.
even planning on doing your chin.
I wasn't planning on doing my chin. I actually went in for my arms. And my thing is like, if I'm going to do it, like, let's fucking do it. You know,
Yeah, I
let's
agree.
just do it.
No, that's how I mean, you talked about it, and I'm like, "I really wanna do it because I know I could hit this out of the park."
You hit it out of the park.
Thank you.
I can tell in photos already. It's been, like you said, 6
It's
weeks.
still gonna be way better. Same with your arms. Like, you're wearing a jacket, so I don't even know what your arms look like, but
I'm going to show you my arms after it. I mean,
Okay.
I'll just strip into your media office.
Listen.
But you notice a difference.
HR's in the LA office for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, Holly. Don't listen to this.
So if someone decides that they want to book this, what
Uh-huh.
is the process? Can they just go online? What if they want to book with you? Are there other doctors that are just like you? Talk about, because it's not just you who's doing this.
No, we have over 70 surgeons. So, we have 22 locations, we're adding 5 more this year.
Wow.
So we're adding even more surgeons. All of the surgeons are either trained by me or trained by a surgeon trainer that I trained. So everyone is doing the same thing in the same way. I really only do procedures like for special situations, or else I wouldn't be able to run the company. We have a huge company. We're a publicly traded company. Like I can't do it all.
So how often are you actually operating?
It depends. It depends on what we have going on. Like if we're doing PR, celebrities, I have a lot of clientele from the Middle East that like I've known for a long time and their family, I'll do them. Like,
I'm sure that's interesting.
yeah.
You could write a book. I mean,
Oh,
you can't write
I
a book, but
wouldn't.
you could
I
write a
wouldn't.
book.
Yeah. I don't want to pull a Harry, but you know, but
Is that what they're calling it there? No?
I don't know.
That's pretty good.
I would so you know, I'll do people that, you know, for one reason or another, you know, but if someone wants to book, they have so many ways to do it. They could just call whatever office they want to go to. The numbers are on, you know, you could just Google whatever office you want. You could go to the airsculpt.com, which I'm really excited to say we're about to roll out a brand new website that's so on brand and so beautiful. And thank you, Stephanie, because like it's like what I always wanted but didn't know how to achieve without Stephanie. And it's going to be a beautiful experience. It works a lot better. It's really artistic, which is what I want because this is art. No one's sick.
Why do you think that celebrities and influencers are so nervous to out themselves?
I don't even think it's just celebrities and influencers. I think it's
Okay,
Everybody.
most people. Yeah.
why do you think that people are so nervous?
I think it's just old taboo, and I think that culture is catching up. This used to be an exotic, weird thing, and it used to not go well. I think something's taboo when it doesn't really work that well. Like facelifts were really taboo when people started doing facelifts because you could die, right? You could end up looking like you're in a wind tunnel for the rest of your life, blah, blah, blah. So it's not something you really want to confess that it's like, hey, I did something super risque. Right? But this is like part of normal life now. Like it used to be that it was taboo to have your teeth whitened. No one talked about tooth whitening. Now it's like they sell tooth whitening at at the airport vending machine. Like, it's normal life. And body contouring is there now. With Air Sculpt, it's not a big deal.
I have a theory.
Same thing with getting your breast done. That was big taboo back when it first came.
I got my breast done when I was 19 and screamed it from the rooftops.
Yeah, I know. I remember I remember the school was in an uproar.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I was there. I was like, Lauren, come over here, talk to me. Let me see him, and I'll tell you if it's okay.
I have this theory that I think that there's also an element that people want a superiority complex. And what I mean by that is they want to be like, I'm all natural with this face pulled back and no fat in my arms and no fat in my jaw. And you can't get this because I don't want you to be at my level.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sorry, I do. I don't know what the right word is.
A competitive element about it, a beauty competition element. And
they want people to think they're naturally woke up like this and that no one can look like them besides them.
Well, there's also the other group that, and this is on the other end of the spectrum, that is the people that believe in being all natural and natural beauty and all that. And again, to each his own.
How do you define all natural?
But
Like, are you all natural if you use Crest white strips?
But there's like, I see people write in, especially when Lauren shares, like you're such a bad influence to women. How could you tell people this? And then it's like, well, like I did a post one day and I was talking about all these different kind of supplements and wellness routines I do. And then somebody got mad saying, hey, this is not relatable. I said, well, you want me to tell you the truth? You want me to say I'm just drinking lemon water, right?
Yeah.
And so I see, I think the problem is there's two camps. There's the camp that is for these procedures and then won't talk about them. And then there's the camp that demonizes these procedures and won't get them, right?
I think just like anything else in life, like I think it's better to just talk about what is than pretend what is not.
It's so much easier.
It's real life.
It's like,
it's
what am I
everyday
going to do?
life.
Hide the compression wear for 2 weeks and like lie to my family? It's just like, just be honest.
Yeah.
Well, because
what's so hard about that?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I know, and like whether people want to admit this or not, if there's someone like my wife on a platform, and it doesn't even have to be Lauren, but someone like her, there are certain people that look to them and say, okay, like I'm going to model parts of my life off of how they behave or off of what they do. And I think it's a disservice if you are on a platform like that to then lie or not be honest, because people model in the wrong way then, right? They
you're negatively influencing people in a way instead of positively influencing.
Yes, they may see Lauren did this thing and I think it's liposuction, and then I'm going to go get liposuction when it was really this
Air
thing.
Sculpt. Yeah.
If she was dishonest, right?
She had a jaw surgery. It left her with some area under her jaw that made her uncomfortable. It bothered her. She's on camera like every day, right? And I heard her and I saw the look in her eyes when she talked about it. I'm like, we have to fix this. And now I hope that you'll be a happier person that's more comfortable in your own skin. And that's the goal of everything I do.
I also think too, you can be a multifaceted person and like these things. I think there's been like this stereotype that because you're into beauty, you can't also, be an entrepreneur or be a badass businesswoman or a mother or a wife. Like you don't need to just put someone in a box just because they like beauty procedures.
Obviously not. And we do a ton of men. I mean, every day we're doing a bunch of guys. Like guys are very interested in this. It's more, now that we're all on camera every day in one way or another, people care about how they look. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with actually taking pride in your appearance?
I think
next time I come back from Miami, everyone's going to be like, "Who's this new guy on the camera?"
I think that there's nothing wrong with being the best version of yourself in every area. I work my body out. I practice mindfulness. I try to constantly challenge myself mentally. Why can't I also have a fucking snatched jawline with a tight arm?
Yeah, it's like, is going to the gym natural? Because this is just part of self-care and maintenance, in my opinion. Just like going to the gym.
Yep. No, I always like when people talk about going to the gym, and it's like, if I just called you out of nowhere on a Sunday, I was like, hey, I need you to come help me move a bunch of furniture around and couches. You'd be like,
I guess that's natural.
You'd be like, what are you talking about? But then if you're like, hey, do you want to go to the gym and just throw a bunch of random weights around? Like, yeah, let's do that instead, right?
You're right. That's
but it's
funny.
the same. It's the same thing.
While I have you, I have to pick on some areas that I think are not talked about enough. You told me when you were doing the procedure that a lot of people come in for fupa area.
Yeah, we do a lot of fupas.
Okay,
Sure.
Talk about that, because I think that's a taboo area.
It is a taboo area. You're absolutely right.
Is
And it's a good thing to
fupa
talk
the
about.
actual medical term?
What's the actual medical term?
Well, you could say medically it's called the mons veneris or the mons. So you could call it Air Sculpt of the mons, but FUPA stands for fat upper pubic area.
Oh, I thought it was
There's two other P words
Well,
you could
good,
Pussy
use.
area.
good thing you corrected me.
Yeah.
Lauren, don't talk like that. That's vulgar on the show, all right? Lauren, come on.
It's not
Lauren.
your vagina,
we-
though. It's on the top of the
We
vagina.
do it a lot to men too.
Yeah,
Fat
Michael,
upper
shut up.
Penis area. Okay.
Yeah, because
right.
it makes guys look bigger.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So
There is a line out the door for air sculpt.
we do more male fupas than female fupas, to tell you the truth.
Just when you get cocky, surprise,
Listen,
you're booking with Dr.
maybe-
Rollins to
maybe
get your
I'm not a
fat
chin-
upper penis area
Maybe
fixed.
I'm not a chin candidate, but you never know about my fupa.
Yeah.
You never
Show
know.
your dick and let's see.
Lauren, you can't afford that fee.
Okay, so go on. So the fat upper pussy area or penis area,
No,
or what do you call it?
pubic
Pubic
area,
area.
Lauren.
Pubic
Sorry.
area.
Okay, so what
Lauren,
is
you are
that?
canceled, Lauren.
What does that look
Oh,
like?
let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, it's like above your genitalia. Okay. It's a normal part of anatomy and it tends to be a problem area. And what's special about it is it's an area I've found on people. If you've ever gained weight, you've been pregnant, whatever, once it expands, it's not going away. Okay. It's one of the most classic problem areas. It's very packed with, like, the fat cells are really packed tight in there. Okay. And I think part of the reason for that is actually to give padding. Okay, it's like meant to be padded, let's say, but once it expands, it's not going away with normal weight loss and exercise. So it's actually a really good area to do. It takes 5 minutes or less to do. It's not painful. And it's super common. Usually when we do a tummy, if a lot of times if your tummy has grown and you gained a lot of weight in your abdomen and your waist, your pubic area, no one wants to mention it. They kind of look down and like, give you a weird look like, can you do this? And it's like, yeah, we do that every day. A similar area to fupa is the back of the neck. Some people call it buffalo hump. You don't have it. I checked. Okay.
Oh my God, you check? Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
I check everybody. I do, because it's not a good look. You look stooped over. You look like you have bad posture. You look like Quasimodo-ish, right? And it's not your fault. It's a hormonally mediated fat pad. Again, once you gain fat there, it's not going away on its own. And then the tailbone. The tailbone is one of my personal favorite areas because another 5-minute area, no one realizes they have fat there. If you have like a bunny tail of fat, like in your tailbone area, and you take that out, in 5 minutes, you have more booty pop and a smaller waist. And what's bad about that?
And a lot of models get that done, right?
Yeah, that's my classic model area.
I think that, and I can just say this, I see on a lot of runways that models have this area carved out. And this is a real trick, guys. The Skinny Confidential, him and her podcast, you heard it here first. This is a real trick to get that carved out look in the tailbone that you see. A lot of it's not natural.
That's true.
So here's my thing. Know what you're dealing with, because people are face tuning in real life and they're not being honest. So just know what they're doing. I have a question.
But this is what I'm saying. There's positive influence and negative influence. And if people aren't being truthful, a lot of this negative influence manifests because they don't have the correct information and they go and get something else done.
You're giving people bad body images when everyone thinks like they worship you and they think this is natural, and it's not. And they're trying to achieve something that's really not achievable. Like a lot of the things that we can do with air sculpt, you couldn't achieve on your own. It's not fair.
I agree. It's not fair. So you have to be honest and really tell what's going on. Is there anything that you can do in the face? I think no.
Well, I mean, you might say that we did something to your face.
Right. Okay. But above the chin and jaw.
The reason that we don't do above the chin and jaw, for example, buccal fat, okay, is because as you age, the more fat you have in the face, the better you look. And I never want to do anything to anyone that they would regret later. Everything we do has to age well, right? Your chin will age well. It's going to mean you're not going to have to get a facelift for a longer period of time and blah, blah, blah. Your skin is tighter than it was before. But if you take fat out of the cheeks, and we get requests for that all the time, well, then you get like a crypt keeper hangdog look. You do not want that. Actually, people want fat put in their face. That's why everyone's full of filler. It's like fake fat.
I think the buccal fat situation needs to be discussed more, because I think it's become more and more popular because a lot of people are getting it done. And I will tell you guys, I've talked to so many doctors behind the scenes about this, you included. And it does give you a skeleton gaunt look as you age.
Yeah.
It's not, in my opinion, preventative
No.
at all.
No, and
In
I
fact,
think
it's the opposite.
Exactly. Well, you're going to regret it later. And it, by the way, buccal fat removal is nothing new. It's been being done for a super long time.
But
I mean,
everyone's been lying about it. And now finally TikTok and Instagram are exposing this. And now people are running to get it done. But
I would never do that.
okay, that's good to know. I want to know, if there's someone who's listening that wants a mommy makeover, would you ever recommend liposuction in any way?
No, I
No,
wouldn't.
ever.
No. The only time where I recommend someone going under anesthesia to look better is, for example, a tummy tuck. If you need a full tummy tuck, let's say you had 2 sets of twins and your tummy is like just an empty bag of skin, well, you need to have skin removed. Let's say you lost 100 pounds. You had like a lap band or whatever, or you just lost 100 pounds on your own. Well, we're not the right thing for you. You need skin removed. You need to go under anesthesia. There's going to be a lot of stitches. It's a big deal. And hey, God bless those people.
Here's my question. If someone does get a tummy tuck, you still would not recommend lipo when they're under, correct? Or could they get lipo?
Well, you can't really do a tummy tuck without lipo, but what we see a lot, actually, I saw it today. A lot of people get tummy tucks. They're under general, obviously. And the important thing is they don't get their waist done because they're like a bag of potatoes. They can't be flipped over the same way that, I can do a patient and get into every nook and cranny. And they get this, what I call SpongeBob SquarePants look, because their stomach is super flat, but their waist isn't proportionally flattened or removed. So they have like love handles and a flat stomach and they look square. So we do a ton of people after a tummy tuck. We do their waist, hip area, sometimes tailbone, sometimes upper belly doesn't get done in a tummy tuck. So we take out what I call rib pockets. We do a lot of people after tummy tuck. It's actually one of my favorite cases to do because it's just so easy.
It almost sounds like you can really help refine it.
Oh yeah. 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 So, if you do have a tummy tuck and you're not happy with it, we can definitely fix it. Another thing we do is we do something called a tiny tuck in the office where let's say you have a little bit of loose skin from babies or from weight loss, but you have real fat to remove. We can actually remove skin while you're awake in the procedure room and, just take out, a couple inches of skin, no problem.
Wow. Jeez. We are giving away 3 chins.
3 chins.
That's a new one for the show.
No
3
one has
chins.
ever given away 3 chins in the history of the world. Find me someone that's given away 3 chins.
Lauren, I'd be hard pressed. I'm going to be honest.
You can only find this here. Is it chin, jawline? What is it exactly?
Well,
so
it just
everyone-
means like the jawline, neck area. It's
Okay.
actually not the chin. It's more like the neck and jaw.
Okay, so
We're removing the double chin, let's say.
you're removing the double chin. This is the exact procedure that I had done.
Exactly.
So it's not with Dr. Rollins. It's with the person in their area.
Correct.
Okay. So what we're going to do to win this giveaway is that you have to tell us your favorite part of this episode on my latest post at Lauren Bostic. And then you have to follow at Elite Body Sculpture. And then maybe you guys they comment on your Instagram too to let us know that you entered. So it's a 3-part giveaway.
Yeah, sure. Great.
They're giving away 3 chin jawline contouring. So what you have to do is you have to go to airsculpt.com/skinny. You enter there and then tell me on my latest Instagram at Lauren Bostic that you entered, and make sure you're following at Elite Body Sculpture on Instagram. And then you guys, I mean, this is so incredible. I have to tell you about my chin. It's changed the game for me. I notice it in pictures. I notice it in video. I think it's such a great confidence boost. As Dr. Rawlings said, I had that jaw surgery and it just needed a little bit of refinement. The recovery is so easy. This is such an incredible giveaway. So AirSculpt has an offer just for TSC listeners. So when you book a procedure, you can also get a complimentary area. So guys, you can go in, you can get your arms done, and then you can book a complimentary area. So
Free
it's
fupa.
free fupa, free chin, free love handles, free thigh gap, free whatever, penis area. Free make your husband's dick look bigger area, free area. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to airsculpt.com/skinny. And like I said, when you book a procedure, you get a complimentary area. So we got a chin giveaway going on, and we also have this complimentary area going on if you book a procedure. Like I said, it's airsculpt.com/skinny. Make sure you're following at Elite Body Sculpture on Instagram. If people have more questions for you guys, they want to reach out, what's the most efficient, effective way?
You could DM us. You could just go to the website and fill out like a little inquiry, or you could just call an office and ask.
I have to tell you, just in front of you, you have been such a joy to work with. Your
Thank you.
team, Stephanie, the nurses, everyone. I have had the best experience. I've told all my friends, my family. I'm texting housewives, celebrities. A lot of people behind the scenes are messaging me on the side. I just love it. And
Thank you.
I can tell the results like crazy. Michael's loving it.
I'm loving it.
You're gonna look a lot better. This is
I just
only the beginning.
I love it, you guys. And definitely while you're recovering, you got to get the Skinny Confidential ice roller. I got to show Dr. Rollins.
I want to see it.
I
Yeah.
got to see this. It's the perfect recovery tool because it tightens and snatches the face and keeps things cool. Thank you for coming on. Where can everyone find you and your team, just in case, one more time?
AirSculpt. You can find us on airsculpt.com or on Instagram at Elite Body Sculpture.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Thank
This
you
has
for coming
been
in.
Fun. Yeah.